Hello internet friends and welcome back to another video. So this video, I did one very similar last year. It is my jet update, which is basically will I stay, will I go in Japan, and my reasons why. I did not know what I wanted to do. I was in so much more turmoil this year than I was last year. Last year I was like, I had a little period where I wanted to go home, but for the most part I wanted to stay. Then everything changed when COVID attacked. Oh, if we knew then what we know now. So basically I'm going home and now I'm going to tell you some reasons why. I don't want to be that person that titles something and you're like, right, okay, just answer the question, and it's like minutes in, because that's the worst. So this year I had a lot more thinking to do. We knew that no one was going to be able to come visit me. I wasn't going to be able to go home without burning through all of my holiday in one go and only spending like 5 days at home and spending the rest in self-isolation during non-school time, because I wasn't allowed to take school time off. As you can tell by some of my vlogs, because they hopefully should all be up now, I've kind of been in two minds for a long time about whether I want to stay, whether I want to go. Honestly, it varied from hour to hour. Oh, my heater's gonna finally turn back on. That's exciting. I'm sorry if you can hear that, but I'm cold. It is snowing outside, which is great, but also not the time for your heater to decide it wants to go to sleep. Or is it going to sleep now? Okay, I've got windows rattling on this side. I've got windows rattling on this side. This thing. Oh my god, okay. For a while now, I've been trying to figure out whether I want to stay for longer, whether I want to stay full term, or whether I want to go home after my second year on jet. So COVID's been a big part of my decision. My first year, especially my first term, obviously no one really wanted to come visit me. Makes sense. They'd only just seen me. I'd only just left in August. So a lot of people were planning to come see me, you know, at the earliest, like the May of 2020. Or August, like autumn time of 2020. or New Year's. You know, not only were we going to have a global pandemic, but we were also going to get a more contagious version just around Christmas time. Oh, 2020. How we do not miss thee. Although 2021, we didn't even get a week. Like, we didn't even get a week. I digress. So people can't come see me, I can't go home. I asked my BOE, I was talking to them about it, my Board of Education, and they were saying that if we were to go home, we'd have to isolate when we go back. Fair enough. The isolation would be part of our holiday. Less fair enough, but I kind of get it, especially for Japan. But then, because we don't get a whole lot of Nenkyu, we don't get a whole lot of holidays, that meant basically we'd be home for like 4 days, like, hey, what's up? And then like straight back to Japan, because they don't want us to take Nenkyu during school time. Maybe, like, every situation is different. Maybe it's just my BOE. It's still a good BOE, I think. Like, I've heard some horror stories from some other people, but then I've also heard stories where I'm like, I wish we were allowed to do that. But I digress. I'm at this BOE, nothing I can do about it. Pros or cons. That's where I'm at. So, you know, our BOE was like, we want you to be finished with the quarantining by the time school restarts at the end of August, which literally means we'd have maybe a week with our families. And even then, like, maybe not, because depending on how much Nenkyu you've got, although granted, none of us have really been doing a whole lot this year, so we have quite a bit of Nenkyu. I have roughly 17 days to use before the beginning of August. And then there's bank holidays like Golden Week, so I'm gonna have a fun 6 months of like doing things like this. Like, today is a Nenkyu day because it's snowing, and they said you can either go to work, where I live doesn't have salt machines, and they were kind of like, you know, it might be a bit dangerous, you can either try and come to the BOE or try to go to school, but like let us know, and if not, you can take Nenkyu at home. And I was like, you know what, I don't want to deal with this. I have an army of Nenkyu. I'm just gonna take the day off, and I'm being productive. Yay me. So COVID was a big factor. You know, friends couldn't come visit me and see my life here, which is still really sad. I'm still quite upset with the fact that no one who I have known for more than 2 years is ever gonna see this apartment, is never gonna see where I've lived, I'm never gonna be able to show them around. It's quite a sad thought, but we don't know how long COVID's gonna last, and the UK is not exactly excelling, so I can't imagine Japan letting UK citizens in anytime soon.
There's also this, every time that there's a reasonably strong wind, all of my windows threaten to explode on me, including my giant patio doors, which I have in all 3 of my rooms on this side, which means because they're single pane, when it's cold, it gets real cold because all the cold from outside just comes in, and I am sure that my heater has turned itself off because I can feel the temperature dropping. Another big factor for me is food. As many of you know, I am vegan, so being vegan in a semi-rural, well, I'm in one of the most rural prefectures in Japan. I'm in the biggest city of that prefecture. There's another town in this prefecture, I'll put it here somewhere, and that actually has more vegan stuff than Shimonoseki, so that's good. I mean, well, on this side, but a big pro of Shimonoseki is it's very close to Fukuoka, which is where most of my friends are. I follow a lot of Instagram accounts back home, and I just keep hearing about all of these new foods that are available. And like my friends will be like, oh, this restaurant now has like 4 vegan options, and I'm like, I have like 3 restaurants I can eat at pretty much in the whole city easily without having to get someone to help me, because although my Japanese has improved, it's still not fantastic. So without someone helping me, I can go to 3 restaurants, and each restaurant I can have 1 thing. So that's a big factor in what I'm doing. Reason kind of number 3 is some of my schools I don't love. Like, I don't hate them, like there's nothing wrong with them. What happened with us, especially with COVID, is for some reason they changed like some of our schools around. So one of my old schools still has an ALT. They just decided to move us, even though there's loads of schools that need ALTs because no new ALTs could come. I don't understand, because Japan. And I missed that school, and the new schools that I got instead of that one I don't like as much. So even though they're probably okay schools, and if I got them from the beginning I wouldn't mind, you know, and it can be really difficult sometimes, like if you're at a school that you don't like or you don't particularly enjoy, and that's like 7 hours of your day, sometimes more than once a week. Depending on what grade you're teaching, it can be quite mentally and spiritually and soul destroying. So in the second term, which for most of the world is the first term, like the autumn term, I was doing the alphabet for 2 months straight. That's all I was doing, because I know that there's going to be people in the comments, especially like teachers who work with younger children, or you know, other English as second language teachers would be like, yeah, you know, like they have to learn the alphabet, like that's an important part of it. Why are you complaining? It's not that difficult. With reception and with kindergarten and all that kind of stuff, when you're like teaching them the alphabet, you're also teaching them math, and you're teaching them history, and you're teaching them art, and you're teaching them all these other subjects. When I say I was doing the alphabet, I mean I was doing the alphabet 4 to 5 times a day, 5 hours a day for 5 days of my week for 2 months. It breaks you a little bit, and a part of that was due to COVID. So what I noticed in some schools, they were like bulldozing ahead of the curriculum. They were like, we're not going to finish on time, because we had that 2-month period where kids weren't at school. Barry Allen speed, just like bulldozing through the curriculum. And then there's other schools that were a bit more steady paced. What I noticed with those schools that flashed ahead was about autumn is when they realized we are not going to have enough stuff to teach in that 3rd term. We need to slow down. And they slowed down on the alphabet. I started the alphabet in like the middle of October with some schools. Then by November I was doing the alphabet with all of my schools. I still had like a few classes, but thankfully some classes had moved on. But the problem was, you do the alphabet, at least with the curriculum that I use, you do the capital letters in 3rd grade and you do the small letters in 4th grade. I'd just be finishing the alphabet with the 3rd graders, then the 4th graders were learning the alphabet. So I just had this, it was hard. And I'm a lot happier now that I'm out of the alphabet. It was a time. It was a time. Another thing that greatly impacted my decision is, again, if you watch my vlogs, you know that I really hurt my shoulder, which is hurting a little bit now because it's so cold in here. Please turn back on. And then it turns out I had a hernia in my neck from sleeping funny. That's what happens when you turn 25. Your body just goes, oh shit, we're old. Problems. So yeah, I got a hernia in my neck, and that was causing severe shoulder pain because it was trapping it, like it's trapping a nerve, I think the doctor said. So my friend used to be the PA last year, and he stopped in August, I think. was like around Augusty time that he like stopped being the PA. He's in my D&D group. And I was complaining to the group about what was happening with my BOE and how they were treating me, and he was like, give me those emails, I'm gonna file a power harassment claim on your behalf. And I was like, and he was like, they should not be doing that. What they're doing is power harassment. My doctor give me, and especially for Japan and Japanese doctors, they give me 2 weeks sick leave, which is not a common thing. And my BOE basically said, you are going to call in every single morning and tell us whether you are or not going to school that day. I felt really guilty. I'd been working on this shoulder for like a month and a half before I was finally like, this is too painful. They did not treat it very well. We're gonna put that as politely as possible. I thought at first, oh, maybe it's just the way things are done in Japan. Like I tried to be like, I'm gonna stand my ground a little bit, but also, you know, culture differences, all that kind of stuff. And I did feel really guilty because I did want to teach. So I was kind of like, you know, if like maybe if I feel like, because I give them the note and I was like, look, I'm really sorry, but this is the note I've got. It is really painful. If I get like a day where it doesn't hurt so much, I'll try and go in. I'm a very people-pleasy person, so I was just like, I can try and come in even with the sick note. So what that led to was every single day me calling in at 8 o'clock in the morning to tell them whether or not I was going to school. And there was a whole bunch of other stuff as well. If you guys want, I'll eventually do a story time on it. I was thinking of starting to do like stories and like things like memory sharing on this channel, but basically a lot more other stuff happened as well, and I was just kind of like ranting to the group, and he was like, no, please give me the emails, I'm gonna file a power harassment claim on your behalf. I did not send him the emails, I did not do that. Thinking back, I should have, but I didn't. Now it's too late. It's been like 7 months, 8 months. You know, it was kind of a case of that all happened. There was other stuff that they were doing during that time period that was a bit naughty. I might have mentioned them in the vlogs at the time, I honestly cannot remember. I was on pretty high pain medication, and it's quite funny if you again do watch my vlogs. There's a period where I don't, so watching early vlog, if you've been watching from the beginning or you just watched through my first year of vlogging, I talk at a normal speed, I'm interacting with the camera. I've been told by a few people that I know that actually you're quite like you don't sound weird or anything, like you sound like yourself, blah blah blah. Around the time I started taking the tablets, or around the time I was in pain, suddenly I'm talking like this a lot, and so yeah, I'm doing this. So I didn't realize I was doing it until I'm like editing those videos like late, because I ended up not editing for a while, and that's one of many reasons why I was behind for a long time. She says, hoping that she's like up to speed now. So all of that was kind of happening, and it's really funny like editing those videos, because it's just like, how did I not know that I sounded like this? I seem to be back to normal now. I seem to be talking at a normal pace again now, but I had no idea I was doing it, and like looking back on those vlogs, it's really funny. The doctor said, hey, this pain medicine will probably make you sleepy. It didn't really make me sleepy, but apparently it made me drowsy, because I could not string sentences together very well. So, you know, on these high pain medications, they had to up my dosage. I ended up spending a full month with medical doctor's notes off work. They weren't very graceful with it, we're gonna put it that way. That was a bit of a damper on my experience personally. Obviously that's not everybody. One thing I will say is if you're a jet, they will try and get you when you're sick to take what's known as Nenkyu, which is your holiday time, and they will try and get you to take that instead of Byoku. I'm gonna put the spellings and things on here. Your contract is different to teachers, and you get a lot less Nenkyu than teachers. The system's very strange. Basically teachers get lots of Nenkyu, but then if they don't use it, they get bonuses. Very bizarre, but that's the system. We do not get as many. We can, it depends on every situation is different. I think it can be anywhere from 20 to 10 days depending on the particular branch of the JET program and the BOE and the Board of Education that you work for. So for example, in my first year we got 15 days Nenkyu, and then they changed the system, and now you get 11, 12, and then you get 14, but because my BOE, I think it's the only one in all of Japan that do this, but oh no, it's not. It's one of a few. I think only this prefecture does it, but I'm digressing too much. Basically, we get less days now, so they can change, they can do all these things. Whereas teachers, to my knowledge, get a whole lot more Nenkyu, but they just never use it, and I think a lot of companies do that, and then what you end up doing is if you need to go to the dentist, you take holiday. If your child is sick, you take holiday. If you, like, all these things. But for us, we don't have as much, so we have Byoku, which they do as well, but because it's like kind of socially pressured to take Nenkyu over Byoku, they will try their darndest to get you to take Nenkyu instead of Byoku when you're ill. Your contract, with it being obviously like an exchange, an international exchange, you are legally allowed to take Byoku instead of Nenkyu. Do not let them bully you into taking your Nenkyu when you're sick. Do not let them do it. You do not have to. If they try to tell you you do, have your contract with you and show them, because you are entitled to that holiday. Don't let them take advantage of you, please. Again, some people might not do that. Some definitely will. Yeah, so that was a big part of my decision to leave. Basically, it was a lot of little things that just became a tidal wave of emotion, and I just got to the point where I was like, you know what, financially it makes a lot more sense to stay here and save up more money, but I miss eating easily. I do get to, depending on cooking, and like I miss going out to restaurants. I miss the ease of everything at home. Like I was just ready to go. Part of me sad, but for the most part, especially with the week that I've had, not just me, like all three of us, because with COVID no new ALTs came, so we had no new faces. Our supervisor has managed to, what word should I use, greatly annoy all three of us, and one of us was only at the education office for one day, and the only reason they were at the education office was because they needed to have their interview on whether they were staying or going, which they originally had as time off, but then they had to change that day so that they could come in and do this. So yeah, that kind of for me solidified my decision of leaving. I'm sorry this is a very waffly video. I don't know how much is gonna get left in, but some of it is passionate, so yeah, they're kind of the main reasons that I'm going home. I am excited to go home and see everybody. I am going to be very sad to leave the friends that I've made here. I've made some amazing friends that I'm hoping to keep for a very long time. I'm hoping to come visit them, and I'm hoping they'll come visit me at some point. And I'm really glad that I came. I'm glad that I had the experience, but I am ready to go. So that's the update in a nutshell. If you made it to the end of the video, good job. If I was coherent enough that you made it to the video, good job. I wasn't. It's editing. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!